couple of years ago, Phil and myself got invited to go to Australia to do some concerts, and we'd never been abroad before.
Apart from Wales.
And it was going to be like a little 3-week tour, and it was going to be free, you see, free food, free holiday. And coming from Derby, as we do, you don't turn many things like that down. So we said yes, and on the day of departure, all our families went to see us off at the airport.
300 of them.
How many?
Ish.
How many?
6. And they're all your family.
And you know why, don't you?
I didn't tell my mum I was going. She sent me to the shop for a bottle of milk and I went to Australia.
We was really nervous and we wanted to look really cool when we walked on the plane, and we had the guitars in one hand and we boarded the plane going like this. Hi. Hi.
Hello.
And you start to work out what everything does around you, don't you? And eventually we took off, and that was tame, wasn't it, Phil?
Tame.
And we was really looking forward to our first trip abroad. One of the other reasons we wanted to go, I don't know if you remember, in Neighbours a couple of years ago, Des and Daphne were having a few problems. They're not so much these days, but they were then. And is somebody going down out there? Because Hunky Shane was in the way, Shane Ramsey, and Phil and myself, we've done quite a few counselling courses, you see. And we thought, wouldn't it be a good idea if we can get alongside Des and Daphne and try and help their situation out a little bit? So that was an added bonus about going to Australia. About an hour and a half into the flight, people get getting up, getting some food and drinks and sitting back down again. And because we'd never flown before, we'd only got travellers' checks, we thought, oh no, it's 39 hours to Australia.
Be a bit peckish.
We would be. And eventually, after about 15 or 16 hours, we landed at a place called Karachi Airport. And while we were sat on the runway, the stewardess came to us and said,
You better move or she'll get run over.
she said, the food is free, you know. So as soon as we took off again, we grabbed 4 or 5 of these meat omelettes, and we really started to...
Big ourselves.
We did. A couple of hours after that, we began to feel quite ill, and we both got food poisoning, but Phil had got the runs as well, which is quite funny on a plane.
400 passengers and 4 toilets, and I had 1 all the way there.
And eventually, after 39 hours, we landed at Sydney Airport, and we staggered off the plane, and we staggered into customs.
Then I collapsed. And then I died. But I got better. I'm sorry, everybody. I was just trying to draw attention to myself. I'm sorry.
If you're going to say anything, make it constructive. So we made our way towards a hotel room where we were staying.
Meccano.
And we got into the room.
Stickle bricks.
And I flopped onto the bed.
I flipped.
So we flip-flopped onto the beds. And we started to watch all the TV programmes. And eventually, after a few of the soaps, Neighbours came on. And things had really changed, because we didn't know it then, but it's like 2.5 years ahead of what it is in England. And you know what happens to Daphne, tragically. But Des does get married again. We can't tell you who to, but he does get married. It begins with J. And ends in E.
and sounds like plane.
But some strange things happened to Mrs. Mangle over the next few months.
She becomes a professional footballer.
And can you remember Clive, the doctor? Well, he comes back into it in a fairly big way.
He's Prime Minister next time.
And Kylie Minogue, I mean, over in England she's a bit of a celebrity, but over in Australia they treat her like royalty. It's amazing.
Sounds like a European football team, doesn't it, Kylie Minogue? Bayern Munich 3, Kylie Minogue 0.
So we made our way towards the concert hall where we was playing, which was at Sydney University. And the guy said, oh, by the way, it's a 60s nostalgia evening. Can you do a song from the 60s, you see? So we said, yeah. And we got the guitars out to learn one. And one of them had been broken during the flight about where the neck is. Now, to a musician, that's like everything. To us, it's nothing, but... So we quickly had to borrow a guitar and quickly learn a song as well. And we thought this one was most appropriate because we was missing home. You know, being away for the first time, it's not all that it's cracked up to be.
My bottle of milk had gone sour.
And Neighbours wasn't, you know, all that we thought it was going to be. So we'd like to do this song. Andy, I don't know if it's possible. Can I have a little bit more of my guitar? And could you turn Phil off?
Not to worry. Blessed are the meek. If that's okay with everybody.